Hey guys, we are back with some more Edmonton Oilers franchise mode, but in this one, this is not a live commentary, at least not right now, because... Alright, so let me back this up a little bit. I usually record 2 audio files when I'm recording videos, just in case one of them screws up, so that I have a backup, and I don't have to worry about re-recording anything. But this is the rare occasion where both of them screwed up. So I'm doing this post-commentary here. I'm just gonna run down all the main points of the video of what happened, because I definitely, after the amount of what happened in this video, I do not want to go back and redo everything. So let's get right to it. First off, before the re-sign stage, we re-signed Ryan Dzingel, Jujhar Khaira, and Malcolm Subban, all to cheaper contracts of what they currently had. We re-signed Dzingel to a 2-year contract at $4 million, I believe it was. And Jujhar Khaira was 2 years at 1.5. And Malcolm Subban, we signed for 2 years at 2.5, which he was making before. The Arizona Coyotes won the Stanley Cup, so it's good to know that, you know, the team that we lost to won the Stanley Cup, and we clearly just ran into a hot goaltender in Antti Raanta, who clearly just shut the door on us. Here's all the awards. Patrick Kane took home a lot of hardware this year. The Calder goes to Wismuller of the Rangers. And yeah, there it is. The Conn Smythe goes to Raanta. He was just fantastic in that series against us. And I would imagine he kept up that form throughout the entire rest of the playoffs, because he was outstanding. And getting into the draft now, we used our first round selection on a medium top 6 power forward, Stefan Bjorkstrand. We used Chicago's second rounder we acquired earlier to acquire the low elite defensive defenseman Elijah McPherson. We used our third rounder to get the medium elite two-way forward Sven Rodin. So with our 5th round selection, we had a little bit of button input lag. Yay! Yeah, that means we selected someone who we didn't want to, because there was a medium elite goaltender on the board. And now we have to trade for another 5th round pick in order to get him, because, you know, button input lag. And now we select the guy that we wanted, Torsten Whiting. With our 6th round pick, we take the low elite defensive defenseman, Harry McEachern. And with our 7th round pick, we take the low top 6 grinder, Jamison Carlton. And that'll wrap it up for this year's draft. So welcome to the Edmonton Oilers. Bjorkstrand, McPherson, Rodin, Ranger, Whiting, McEachern, and Carlton. Malcolm Subban has jumped to an 87 overall after the fantastic season he had for us. 921 save percentage, which of course was a lot higher at the end of the season, and he had a 938 during the playoffs. This guy was a stud for us, and we're obviously bringing him back for another couple of years. So there are no NHL contracts that we had to re-sign during the re-sign stage, because that was all done ahead of time. And as we go into free agency here, there was no one who I was really interested in who we would be able to afford long-term, because we have to keep our young defensive core together, our young core in general together. And we have a couple of big contracts coming up, rookie contracts, and Merkley and Byram particularly, who are going to want huge raises. And then, of course, Oscar Klefbom as well. He's going to want a little bit of a raise up to 5.5. So I really don't want to invest anything into any long-term free agents, because that's just going to put us in the same place where we've been for a long time. I have to end up trading guys again, and I don't want to go through that whole process, you know, year after year. So we're going to go with the trade route. So we're going to be making a trade with the New York Rangers, because they have a need in goal for prospects, which we have a couple of that we can afford to give them in exchange for some really nice forward depth. And the players who we're getting back are players who might be looking for a change of scenery. So the main attraction that we're sending their way would be the goaltender that we just drafted in Torsten Whiting, because I wouldn't want to give up Barron, but they need goaltenders, and maybe they didn't have Whiting scouted, so maybe that's why they didn't draft him, because it's clearly a need of theirs. So one of the guys going back the other way for us is going to be Jimmy Vesey, because Jimmy Vesey did not play in the NHL this year at all. He played in the AHL, and maybe he's looking for a change of scenery. I figure as an 81 overall, he'd be some nice depth, cheap depth as well, since we're retaining 50% of his salary. He didn't have an impressive point total the last time he was in the NHL, but he's a hitter, and maybe we can get his takeaway to giveaway ratio up there, back to where it was in year number 1. But the main attraction that's going back to us the other way is Lias Andersson. Because Lias Andersson, he is a second line forward. But the Rangers have not been using him like a second line forward. As you can see here, he played on the fourth line for the Rangers this past year, and I'm not sure if that's going to change for them, considering Hedl and Zibanejad are already their top two centers. And they also have a prospect center in Wong, who's a 78 overall. He's a medium elite center. So you got to figure that sort of pushes Lias Andersson out. Maybe he's looking for a change of scenery. And where Lias Andersson would fit in with our team, he'd be a perfect third line penalty killer because of his takeaway to giveaway ratio last year. 47-22. He's pretty good at faceoffs. Maybe he can work on that a little bit. Get that back up to a 54% where it was last year. He's not much of a hitter, of course, so not the ideal player. But he did have 39 points in only 11:48 of average ice time last year. So it's clear that the Rangers, they might be looking to move on from Andersson, and Andersson might be looking to move on for the Rangers because he's maybe not getting the amount of ice time that he wants there. So he's going to be the main piece coming back the other way. And we are retaining half of both Andersson and Veazey's salary because we're giving them an elite prospect in Whiting. The trade is Whiting, Sador, and Carlton for Veazey and Andersson at half their salaries, and they accept. And now we're going to take a look at the growth going into this year. Subban stayed at that 87 that he got over the offseason, and Stuart Skinner unfortunately stayed at it 81, so maybe he's someone we look to trade if we don't consider him a part of the future anymore, because he doesn't seem to be growing at this point. Defensively, we have Barry 87, Clefbaum 85, Larson, Nurse, and Merkley 84, Byram 83, and then Jones the 77. He'll be our backup for the first part of the season more than likely. Forward-wise, we have McDavid 95, Puljujärvi 90, Draisaitl 89, Marner 88, Nuge 86, Anderson and Nyquist 83, Dzingel 82, Yamamoto and Veazey are 81s. Cizikas 79, Kara 79, Sorensen 79, and then in the system, we have our prospect Nikita Wisniewski, who is a 78 overall. So those are all the major things of what happened in what would have been the full episode 19, but because this was a very short, just recap sort of thing, I'm going to tack on what would have been episode 20 onto the end of this so that you guys get a full video as you're used to. So that'll be about it for this. And sorry that this video was extremely late. Hope you guys understand this. The audio situation was not fun, but nonetheless had to get the video out. I didn't want to put out a video with terrible audio quality because I had a hard time listening to it in editing, so you guys definitely were not going to listen to that. So yeah, here is what would have been episode 20, which I guess will now be episode 19 part 2. Hey guys, we are back with some more Edmonton Oilers franchise mode, and in this one, we are going to start year number 5. But before we do, we're going to see all the line changes, because we didn't do them in the last one. So the first line, Draisaitl, McDavid, Puljujärvi. The top 6 is basically untouched. Nyquist, Nuge, and Marner. Then the third line will be Ryan Dzingel, Lias Andersson, and Kyler Yamamoto. So Andersson taking the place of Paul Stastny. And then Jimmy Veazey, Cizikas, and Nikita Wisniewski make up the fourth line. Wisniewski is currently a 78 overall depth forward, 21 years of age, so I have a feeling that this is his chance to make a name for himself as far as making the NHL. Because if he goes another year in the AHL and then doesn't really progress, his progression time is almost up at that point, because usually by 23, prospects will stop growing a significant amount. And at that point, it's having a top 6 forward in the system, or a potential top 6 forward in the system, is almost pointless. So we're going to give Wisniewski the chance on the fourth line this year. Clefbaum, Barry, Byram, and Merkley, and then Nurse and Larson make up the defensive core. Power play, Draisaitl, McDavid, Puljujärvi, Clefbaum, and Merkley on the first unit, and Nyquist, Nuge, Marner, Nurse, and Barry on the second unit. And for the 4-man power play, we have McDavid, Puljujärvi, Clefbaum, Merkley, and then Draisaitl, Marner, Nurse, and Barry. Penalty kill, Draisaitl and Veazey with Nurse and Larson on the first unit, and then the second unit will be Andersson, Puljujärvi, Byram, and Clefbaum. And 3-man penalty kill is basically the same. Draisaitl, Nurse, Larson, Andersson, Byram, and Clefbaum. And the 4-on-4, McDavid, Puljujarvi, Klefbom, and Barrie. And then Draisaitl with Marner, Byram, and Merkley. And continued, of course, is Nuge, Nyquist, Nurse, and Larson. 3-on-3, McDavid, Puljujarvi, Barrie, Draisaitl, Marner, and Klefbom. And then Nuge, Nyquist, and Merkley. Extras are McDavid and Nuge. McDavid, Draisaitl, Marner, Puljujarvi, and Nuge. And in goal, we have the 87 overall, Malcolm Subban. He's coming off a pretty darn good season, .921 save percentage last year, and of course that went up as the season went on, so he got hotter towards the end of the season, and that was proven in the playoffs with a .938 save percentage in 11 games. I'm guessing that's why he got that overall boost up to an 87, and we have him on a steal of a contract for $2.5 million for only 2 more years. So, if we need to trade him, we can at the draft, and if we don't, then that's fine too. So we're just going to go into the season with these lines. Jones and Kara are scratched for right now. And in the minors, we have Marcus Sorensen with Sumal, and then Mike Osgood's down here. He's a low elite. Who else? Suglobov, I believe, is a low elite as well. Bjorkstrand we signed. He's a medium top 6 forward. Howe's low elite. And Summers low top 9. Okay. And then as far as defense goes, you have Smirkov and Day. Bufflin with Siffers. So Bufflin, the low elite. Siffers, the medium top 4. And then Raimo Serenheimo, the medium elite. And Wojtek Malik, the low elite as well, is in there. And in terms of goal, you have Dylan Wells and Olivier Rodrigue. No one too impressive there. But who really grew for us over the offseason, in terms of goaltenders at least, is our unsigned prospect in Weston Barron. As we take a look over here, 68 overall. If I'm not mistaken, he was in the 50s last year. So if he indeed was in the 50s, which if I remember correctly that he was, that's some tremendous growth right there. Hopefully we see some more tremendous growth out of him this year, and maybe next year he can make, at the very least, the AHL team as the starter. If not, who knows, maybe even jumps up to the NHL right away as a backup. And now there's not much left to do except for sim through the preseason, and then we'll get the regular season underway. Okay, we went 5-2 in the preseason. Not bad. Could have been worse for sure. I was hoping for the perfect 7-0 personally, given the talent on this roster. But that's fine, because we all know it doesn't matter. Well, you hate to see it. Nikita Vishnevsky's been injured until November 3rd, so that's not too long from right now. But it's still, you hate to see injuries from rookies. That's unfortunate. So we're going to get Kara in there. And I believe he was only on the 4th line, so we don't have to worry about too much there. Okay, so after 1 month, we are 8-3-2. Not too shabby. That's definitely one of the better records that we've had with this team to start a season. And surprise, surprise, Connor McDavid over a point per game so far. So I'm not going to get too in-depth with the player stats here. I do want to do as much simulating as possible in this video in as the least amount of time as possible. So Connor McDavid with 14 points, Puljujarvi with 13, Draisaitl with 11, Marner with 7, Nuge with 6, Klefbom with 5, VZ and Nyquist also with 5, Merkley with 4, Vishnevsky with 3, Yamamoto also with 3, Cizikas with 2, Anderson with 2, Barrie with 2, Dzingel with 2, Larson with 2, Nurse with 2, and everybody else with nothing so far. And as we check face-off percentages, Anderson, McDavid, Nuge, all above 50%, all above 53 actually, so that's very good for the 3 of them. Our 3 main centers all getting it done, but what about Cizikas? 44% for the 4th line center. Not a good look right there for Cizikas. Let's see physicality. How's everyone doing hits-wise? Puljujarvi, Klefbom, Byram, Dzingel, McDavid, Draisaitl, VZ, Larson, Nurse, all over a hit per game, and I believe maybe Nyquist is too. We played 13 games so far. Yeah, he's hit per game as well. So everyone from Nyquist up, over hit per game, physicality, no problem on this team. Now, defensively, take away the giveaway ratio, Connor McDavid, back to doing what he does best. 24-8 takeaways. That is much better than last year. He had a not so great ratio last year, 32-47. That was unfortunate for him, but 24-8 now. He is on fire to start the season. Puljujärvi, he's doing great as usual as well. VZ. Now, VZ is not one I expected to have a great ratio, although he did have a great ratio last year, but just not 13-3 to start out. So I'm impressed with Jimmy VZ so far on the fourth. And also, to be fair, this was in the AHL. Keep in mind. So his last NHL season was actually 39-47. So this is actually a very impressive start to the season for Jimmy VZ. Now, Elias Anderson, pretty good as well. Yamamoto, Nyquist, Nuge, Cizikas, Dzingel. Draisaitl's not doing too hot, but everyone else above him, pretty good. Barry, he's doing all right for a defenseman. Marner, not so great, but he's getting off a little bit of offense. 7 points. I wish he'd be doing a bit more, but you know what? We're winning games. I can't complain too much. Ryan Merkley, 4-12. Larson, 3-17. That's a bit brutal. 3-7 for Nurse. 3-8 for Klefbom. 3-16 for Byram. So Byram's a little shaky with the giveaways so far in his career, but he is making up for it with the physicality, and he is getting a lot more ice time this year that he has in years past. So, this is also, I believe, the first time that he's on the penalty kill, or was he on the penalty kill last season? I can't remember entirely, but I just know that he is getting a lot more ice time this year as a 21-year-old, so there might be a little bit of an adjustment period there, so we're going to have to hope that his elite potential pans out for him. And Nikita Vishnevsky, 3-0. So he's been pretty good so far in the games that he's played. He's played 11 games. He only missed a couple. Kara, 1-0, and that'll do it for that. Fights, nothing so far. As far as goaltenders go, Malcolm Subban with the .948 save percentage. My goodness, Malcolm. That is ridiculous. That is pretty ridiculous right there. If you could somehow keep that up, I would be officially impressed. And we might have to give him a lifelong contract after that. Who knows? I mean, that's pretty insane. So just keep doing what you're doing there, Subban. I don't know what else to say. That's impressive. So now the AHL. So the AHL needs a little bit of work. Your top scorer is Marcus Sorensen with 4 points. And then after that, 3, 3, 3, 2... and that's in 7 games played. So that's a little brutal to start out for the AHL. Hopefully they could get it going a little bit offensively. And Rodrigue with a .915 save percentage. Wells, .938. So I would imagine that Bakersfield got to get a little better offensively. But we got to at the same time, we have to let our prospects develop. And the only way to do that is, of course, by playing them. So I'm not about to go out to free agency to go get some veteran with a 90 offensive awareness to play in the AHL, because that would just take away from their time. And checking the team stats now. Let's see the goals for per game. Where do we sit? We are sitting with a 2.46. So clearly, Malcolm Subban is the reason we're winning games here with a 1.77 goals against per game so far. Only 23 goals against in 13 games. Wow. Now, unfortunately, the goals could be a lot better. But wow. That's incredible to start out the season defensively for the Edmonton Oilers. Power play is a 21.6. So even though we don't score too many goals, we've scored 8 on the power play. So of our 32 goals, 8 on the power play, we've scored a quarter of our goals on the power play. So if you take away the power play goals, that's 24. We have almost as many goals for even strength as we do goals against in total. Okay. As far as the penalty kill, we're in the top half of the division, but it's still not optimal. It's only a 79.4. It could be a lot better. Of course, Anaheim's above us with an 81.8, and then Arizona and Calgary, they're bound to come back down to earth at some point. 95.8 and 89.5. So as long as, I guess, Malcolm Subban's as long as Malcolm Subban keeps it up, we should be good to go. But at the same time, I don't want to rely completely on Subban. So I guess if we start dropping games here, then we could look towards maybe shaking up our offense a little bit. But other than that, I don't really see any reason why we'd be losing games right now due to the play of Malcolm Subban. He's just being an absolute beast right now. So let's continue on with the simulation. And we'll go past the Arizona Coyotes game here in November. As long as we're winning, we'll keep simulating. And actually, Nikita Wisniewski is fully healed, so we're definitely going to have to get him back in there. Well, Leon Draisaitl has been injured with a foot injury until November 24th. That's a bit rough. That's, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks from now. So we're going to have to find someone to fit in here on the first line. And for right now, we're just going to fill in Kara. But I'm definitely going to have to edit the lines quite a bit here because I'm not sure if I want Kara on the top line with McDavid and Puljujarvi. Dzingle's off to a slow start on the third line, so I'm going to see if we can get him going on the first line with McDavid and Puljujarvi. And what else can we do here? Definitely not Kara on the power play. I'm going to get Dzingle here as well. Penalty kill. Jeez, Draisaitl was everywhere. That screws up our lines tremendously. And of course, the 4-on-4. So McDavid, Puljujarvi, Marner, Nuge, Nyquist. I guess Anderson would go there. You know what? I'll give this to Merkley. Ryan Merkley, offensive defenseman. He's pretty solid. Got great puck skills, 93 offensive awareness. Not the greatest shot, of course, but I think, puck skills, they're pretty important in the shootout. So we're going to give Ryan Merkley a chance here. We'll make him number 5. Marner over here. Yeah, that looks good. And Draisaitl is back. So we're going to get Dzingel back to where he belongs on the third line. And we'll get Draisaitl back in. Take out Kara. And put him back. Put all the lines back where they were. So that we can continue our success here. This team is starting to impress me. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to really anticipate a Stanley Cup championship performance out of this team. We just went 10-4 in November. Meaning we are currently 18-6-3. This is the first time that I'm not really having any worries with this team in this entire GM mode, really. So we can just really keep going. We'll check the stats briefly. But yeah, we're first in the Pacific Division. We're first in the West. Are we first? We're first in the NHL. We are first in the NHL. Never thought I'd see the day. Anyway, let's check out the player stats really quick. And then the team stats to see if the offense has improved. Forwards, McDavid with 34. Puljujarvi 27. So McDavid and Puljujarvi point per game. Draisaitl 23, and actually Draisaitl is as well. He just didn't play as many games. 23 and 22. Nuge with 17. Marner with 16. Vesey with 10. And Nyquist only with 8 in comparison. So Jimmy Vesey has been quite a good pickup for the fourth line. And especially at a bargain of .945 in salary for the next 2 years. Pretty good deal there. Nyquist with 8. Wisniewski with 7. What's he up to? So he's still a depth forward. All right. As long as he's making progress, that's all I really care about. Lias Anderson with 6. Yeah, our offense, anywhere below the top 6 is pretty much non-existent, as seen here by Yamamoto with 6 points total. Anderson with 6 points total. Wisniewski with 7 points total. Nyquist, even Nyquist, who was on the top 6, only 8 points. So we really are leaning. We're leaning on Malcolm Subban. Dzingel with 5. Cizikas with 5. Kara with 2 and 8. Let's see. Defenseman. Merkley with 16. Barry with 12. So that, all right, at least our defensemen are obviously putting up the points as well. So that kind of makes up for the lack of point scoring for forwards as far as our depth forwards go. And then Clefbaum with 9, Nurse with 5, Byram and Larson with 2. Don't expect offense out of those two guys, obviously. And as far as the goaltenders go, so Subban's back down to a 926. We expect that. He was basically superhuman before with that 948. You don't expect him to hold on to that all year, obviously, but the 926 is still pretty good. And then Stuart Skinner with a 923 in 7 games. And Subban with 1 shutout. I'm surprised he doesn't have more with how well he's played, especially earlier on in October. He does have an assist, though. So we're going to check out the team stats now. That's all we're going to do for player stats at the moment. It's pretty clear that our offense is not really there, especially depth-wise. Well, actually, goals for per game is at 2.81. So before that was at a 2.4 or something. It was in the low 40s for that. So I guess our offense has come alive as of recent, and goals against per game, it got obviously higher, but before it was at a 1.7, so it's obviously going to come back down to earth. So I'm really not worried about anything right now with this team. It looks like we're pretty solid. Power play, we're at 20%. That's a little bit lower than before, but we now have 16 power play goals. I believe as of when we last checked, it was 8, so we scored another 8 on the power play this month. I can't really complain too much as long as it stays consistent, as long as it doesn't dry up. Now, the one thing that does need to be fixed is the penalty kill. 73.9. So this is the... Okay, I take it back. This is the one thing I'm worried about with this team. 73.9. Last year, wasn't our penalty kill like 84 or 85? Or am I remembering the Wolfsburg GM mode? I might be remembering the Wolfsburg. I don't know. Everything starts to blend together when you do multiple GMOs at a time. But, yeah, we definitely need to fix the penalty kill for sure. But other than that, we should be set to go. Because we've been winning games. And there's really no harm in making a change to our penalty kill. Because our penalty kill has been terrible. But we've overall been winning games. So if we just figure out a way to fix the penalty kill, then we should be winning even more games, theoretically. So let's see if there's anything that we can do to the penalty kill to maybe help Subban even more. So let's see all the ratios here for the guys who are on the penalty kill. So Draisaitl, that's not terrible, 11-11. VZ, as of when we last checked, he was actually great. Now he's up to a 15-15, so he was definitely better in the first month. Puljujärvi, 41-14. That's incredible, especially being on the penalty kill. He's incredible defensively. Elias Anderson, 17-15, not bad. Now let's see defenseman Darnell Nurse, 9-16. Larson, 5-25. I might want to take Larson off, or at least give him some less time. 7-19 for Clefbaum. Now, Byram, as when we last checked, was kind of brutal. Yeah, 8-37. Should Byram be on the penalty kill? Yeah, he kind of needs to be honest. He's one of our future top defensemen, and I don't want to just take away time from him just because he's struggling. You know, let him push through it. But at the same time, we have to change something about this penalty kill because it's clearly not working. And you know what? Let's just do a forward swap, see what that does. Let's do Anderson and Puljujärvi with Larson and Nurse instead. And then Draisaitl and VZ with Byram and Clefbaum. I just want to see what that does. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to make a difference, but we'll see. Maybe the computer will use Anderson and Puljujärvi more. And Puljujärvi being used more on the penalty kill is definitely what we want, considering his defensive ratio. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to put Draisaitl and Puljujärvi together just because, mainly because I don't want to have VZ and Anderson together. So let's just see what happens with these changes on the penalty kill. If it doesn't work, then, of course, we'll try something else. But, again, there was no harm in changing the penalty kill up because it was already pretty bad. You hate to see it. Oscar Clefbaum injured with a sore hip until December 23rd. That's about, I would say, a week and a half from now. So, yeah, one of our top 2 defensemen going down. And that means Caleb Jones getting in there for the first time in over a year. And we're going to put Nurse with Barry instead. And now where was Clefbaum? I know he was on the power play, so we're going to have to put... Let's just put a forward on the point. I'll put the Zingle on the point. Oh, he was on the penalty kill too. Nurse, Larson, Byram. I don't think I want Jones there. My other options are Barry and Merkley. I'm going to get Barry. He's a solid two-way defenseman. Oh, he was on the 3-on-3 as well. Barry, Merkley, and I kind of want a lefty here. just so it stays consistent. Get Nurse there. Oh my goodness. Leon Draisaitl injured with post-concussion syndrome till March 2nd. That's brutal. That sucks. That hurts. So since Dzingel's already on the power play, I'm going to get Anderson there in place of Draisaitl. Man, that puts a huge hole in our lineup until March. That's terrible. Who did I put here? Was it McDavid? Yeah, I think it was McDavid. So McDavid's going to have to be a penalty killer as well. I mean, I guess I could put Zizekas there, but I kind of want someone strong there with VZ. McDavid, Puljujärvi, Marner, Nuge, Nyquist. We'll get Anderson here with Marner as well. You got to be kidding me with these injuries. Are they set to 50 or something? They just seem to be happening a little too often right now. I mean, it's not too long, but still, all these injuries piling up. Ryan Dzingel injured with a mild concussion till December 30th. So now at this point, I think we need to bring somebody up from Bakersfield, because I don't believe we have any extra players. Well, Clefbaum's actually back, so that's good, but no extra forwards. So yeah, we're going to have to call somebody up. So we're going to call up Marcus Sorensen here. Yeah, those two injuries bit us hard. Anderson's now on the first line with McDavid and Puljujärvi. Second line's untouched, but that bottom six is kind of brutal. Sorensen, Kara, Yamamoto, VZ, Zizekas, Wisniewski. Oof. That's not pretty. All right, so we're going to have to hope that that top six kind of carries us, or we're going to have to make a trade. Actually, you know what? We might have to stop this video after December, because that injury to Draisaitl was huge. That was a huge injury. As a matter of fact, I think that's what we're going to have to do, because this team's incredible right now. We have a great record, but without Draisaitl, I'm concerned. I mean, obviously, this team's good enough to be a playoff team, but without Draisaitl, we lose one of our key penalty killers, one of our better offensive players, of course, as well. And then, of course, we're without Dzingel until the 30th, which isn't that long from now. But when you lose a player that big for that long, do you consider making a trade for someone to at least fill the void for them? And then, obviously, once Draisaitl comes back, then you have another great player to use in the playoffs. He might have to just be a one-year rental player sort of situation here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right, yeah. We had a little bit of a rough end to that month, and specifically after Draisaitl was injured. So I'm thinking, the more I look at the end of this month, 4 of the last 5 games were losses. I'm heavily considering trading for a one-year rental player, just so that we can have another good top 6 forward until Draisaitl gets back. I mean, well, obviously we'll have him for longer than until Draisaitl gets back, but you know what I mean. So we're quickly going to go through the trade block here, see who is available, and if there's no one available, then I guess I might just have to look for somebody on my own, because we definitely need a rental here to replace, or at least try to fill the shoes of Draisaitl until March, basically. Okay, so Trocheck is still on the trade block for the Florida Panthers. Now, he is on his 6-year deal. He's a top 6 forward currently. He might be someone we consider, even if only for 1 year, and then we just trade him at the draft. That might be what we have to do. That very well might be what we have to do. Okay, so Gino. Gino is available, and he's on a 1-year contract. So maybe you consider Gino. There's also Gallagher, but he's on a 5-year deal. I would, if we're going after someone on a multi-year deal like that, I would rather just go after Trocheck, especially since Gallagher's injured right now. And I believe Trocheck is slightly younger than Gallagher. But if we're going for someone with a 1-year deal, then maybe we heavily consider Gino. There's also Kyle Turris of Nashville, who's on a 2-year deal, so maybe that's a little bit better So St. Louis's looks like they're in sell mode here. Braden Shen and Jaden Schwartz are on the block for St. Louis. Now again, obviously multi-year deals, but do we consider getting one of them? There's also Max Pacioretty from Vegas, and that's it. So let me know what you guys think. Who should we go after as a rental player? Because life without Draisaitl until March isn't going to be fun otherwise. So let me know. Who should we get? Who should we trade? And I'll see you guys in the next one when we continue year number 5.